Well, welcome to Cyberbudo and thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be looking at Shodan. So if you're new to cybersecurity, you might find this interesting. If you're thinking about getting into cybersecurity, then you're making a really good choice, a good decision for your life and for your family, because it's a growing field. All this technology, all these smartwatches, smartphones, as annoying as it is to me, it's also creating this field, making this field expand and grow every single day, because the problem is that all these devices have vulnerabilities. All technology that is connected, and this will be one of the most fundamental things that you will learn in your cybersecurity journey. Now, I hate using that word so much, cybersecurity. However, this is how most people understand what we're talking about. What we're talking about is being a SOC analyst, so Security Operations Center analyst, somebody who investigates, and defends an organization. You have a penetration tester, someone who actively scopes and targets an organization system, whether it be the network, whether it be the Wi-Fi, the wireless, whether it be the web applications. You've got consultants, GRC, which is regulatory compliance and things like that. There are many different fields in cybersecurity. Now, maybe you're not sure which route you're going to go down at this stage, but please follow the channel and I'll talk about that subject a bit more. Now, with that out of the way, we're going to look at something called Shodan. Okay, so if you're a SOC analyst, if you're a consultant, if you want to become a penetration tester, this is a very cool tool that I would highly suggest and recommend that you jump into for yourself and start learning how it works. Now, to fully understand Shodan, to get the most out of it, does require a baseline understanding of networking and how networks work, how ports work, and protocols work. Okay, now Shodan is like a Google search engine, but for ports, right? For exposed ports, for Internet of Things, like anything that's connected to the internet, cameras. Shodan, if it captures it, if it queries it online, will show it here. Okay, you can pay for a subscription to Shodan. You can use it for free, or you can pay a one-off fee that allows you to get a little extra features like IP monitoring. We're not going to go too deep. If this video does well and people want to do a deep dive into Shodan, I'm more than happy to do that. For now, I'm just going to keep it basic. It's just going to be an introductory lesson into Shodan. Now, whether you're a penetration tester or whether you are a SOC analyst, this will form part of your toolkit for what is known as OSINT. So OSINT is open source intelligence. Okay, anything that is open source intelligence is essentially available on the internet. Anyone can go online and click into it and find the exact information. So if a SOC analyst is using it, you can guarantee that a threat actor or a hacker or someone who's committing fraud, they're using the same tools. Okay, that's why it's called open source. There are commercial tools, but we're going to talk about open source tools. They're great to play with, especially in the beginning when you don't want to be going and spending too much money. So let's jump in. Okay, so you can come to this page and you can read what Shodan is. Pretty much where I got the definition of the whole Google search engine thing, it comes from here. It's a banner grabber. So for those of you who don't know what a banner looks like, this is a banner. Okay, so it captures information like the time and the date, the server that it's running on, and whether this, like, what the model of server is, if it's up to date or not, last modified. This is basic information that fires back. It says here that the information gained from these services is applied to many areas. Network security, right? So keep an eye on all devices at your company that are facing the internet. Market research, so you can find out how many different products that a person's using, which you can do for market research or data analysis. An attacker might find out that there's a particular vulnerability in a particular device that is a critical vulnerability that they can now use Shodan to go and query the entire web and find who's running this device and then actively try to exploit it. Cyber risk, okay, so the online exposure of your vendors is as a risk metric. So if you're working for a client, you can use Shodan as a tool to let your clients know this is your public facing infrastructure, okay? So anyone that is connected to the internet is connected by a public facing or an external facing IP address, right, that sources in the traffic. If that is exposed on Shodan, then that means attackers can see that, right? And if you've got ports and things open, that can be exploited. And then also it says tracking ransomware. Measure how many devices have been impacted by ransomware. Okay, so just a disclaimer before we go any further. Something that's very important to talk about is that this tool is a very powerful tool, okay? Hacking is illegal, and you should check to make sure that whatever country you're in, that you're allowed to use this tool. Here in Australia, it's not a problem. Open source tools are perfectly legal generally, but they can be used unethically, okay? So use your judgment. Hacking's illegal. Interacting with an IP address or a device or an organization can get you in a lot of trouble, okay? So play around with caution. Use it wisely. So we're jumping back here to the dashboard, and they give us what's called a filters cheat sheet. All right, so this is how you can search with Shodan, right, through the interface. So you can search by city, you can search websites, you can search a network range, so a network IP address range. You can search the name of an organization. You got port numbers, so you know how many ports are on a particular SSH server. What is the software that is powering a particular service? Samsung smart TVs. Screenshots of industrial control systems. Never really looked at that. And then you got state. So you can go and find more examples. You can do advanced searches. Something that I might talk about a little bit more if this video is interesting and people want to see more, we might look at developer access. So showing you how you can use your Shodan API key and to create a custom script, like a Python script, to actually isolate particular details or particular things that you're using, and you can actually use that script without having to come to the website. You can just use your VS Code and you can launch that script to bring back particular results. Really interesting if you're just curious about a particular IP or an external IP that you would like to look more into. So another cool feature that I like about Shodan is the geolocation feature. So if we want to search a particular city, we can zoom into the city, and it's going to start showing these little Shodan dots. And all these dots, I mean, it's a massive amount of information. So your queries are going to be better off being more specific, but we'll talk about that more later. For now, we're just exploring this tool. So you can see here we've got these little dots, right? Let's click one of them. And we see that when we click one of them, we can see we have an IP address. We can have obviously the city, the country, organization, and we can see the ports that are open. Pretty standard ports, right? We've got 80 and 443, so HTTPS, and port 80 is HTTP. Now, if we click inside, we get a little bit more details on this particular IP address, okay? We can see it's a host name, part of domainstate.com. We can see the organization, the ISP, which is Trellian Pty Limited. So ISP is the internet service provider, the ASN number. And then we can see here we've got our HTTP, port 80, TCP, found with the banner, right? And then we got a similar thing here too, the 443, the HTTPS. We have encrypted SSL certificate, and we can see that there's some encryption there. And we can check to see if this particular Apache server, you could look into see, you know, is it running on an outdated server? Looks like, you know, whoever this company is, looks like this is all set up properly and that there's no issues here. But you can see already the effectiveness of this tool, right? We could begin to dig deeper into this particular IP address, see who it belongs to, and see if we can find out any information on it. So we can go off and to use more OSINT tools to do further research on this particular information and on this IP. We can go much further and find out a lot more information around this. Now, another important thing in investigations is that you have what's called active reconnaissance and you have what's called passive reconnaissance. This is a form of passive reconnaissance because we are not directly interacting with the target. Okay, we are passively using whatever tools that are available to us online to minimize our footprint and minimize the possibility of being detected in our operation. This is what attackers will do in the very early phase of deciding whether or not they're going to pursue this particular company or organization further, right? They're going to start looking for ways in. Now, a lot of organizations take security a lot more seriously these days. This might only form a portion of looking for the weak points in an organization. If you're a security consultant or an analyst, you'll be looking at these weak points or trying to find weak points in order to advise the clients before a threat actor uses these weak points to exploit the target that they're going for. Now, whether you move into a active form of reconnaissance against an organization will depend on your interest and what it is that you're trying to accomplish, but active would be things like running a port scan against this particular IP. Okay, this day and age, your chance of getting caught doing that's going to be very high. Now, depending on who it is, they're probably not going to care. They're probably just going to block your IP or whatever it is that you're doing. But if it was some government agency, if it was someone, they might take an interest in that, and they might start to look at into your activity a little bit more. All right, but for the most part, people, the companies are probably just going to block any activity coming from your IP. But threat actors and people can run active forms of reconnaissance to find out more details. Again, a lot more high risk, and it's not really going to be worth it depending on what your objective is. If you're a penetration tester, then they probably know that you're going to be attacking their system or expecting it. Just all depends on the scope and what it is that you've agreed to do. Okay, so there's the geolocation thing. You can go and search a particular city, find IPs, look for things. You could look around your own town and see IPs and businesses around your own town. Again, just be responsible with this information. Use it for research purposes. It's really great for vulnerability research. You can try and find vulnerabilities first and you can report them even, but I would tread carefully around that. I would say just do it for your own educational purposes for now until you get a little bit more experienced. I'm still very amateur myself. I'm still learning a lot too. Now, this particular feature here in Shodan has to be the creepiest part of Shodan, and this website actually scares a lot of people when they see it. But this right here, these are real images, okay? This is data, metadata that Shodan has queried and has come back. Now, Shodan is not live streaming any of this stuff, but it has taken a snapshot, right? So we can see here we've got people's desktops, and we can see one of the most common ones that you'll see is like parking lots. So these are probably old parking lot cameras that are obviously on some kind of live streaming protocol that is maybe not fully secure, and Shodan has picked up on it. So let's just click into one of them. Okay, it didn't work. Let's try again. Here we go. So we've clicked in to this camera. It's a really high camera. Hikvision IP camera. So that's the type of camera we're looking at here that has picked this image up. We got the banner here about when the image was captured, other information. Serbia is the location in the city called Zvezdara. Don't know if I can pronounce that properly. The ISP that is running the internet connection. And then we can see something else that Shodan does here, which is really interesting. It actually gives us a vulnerability report, like not a full report, but it gives us a little bit of a breakdown about the vulnerabilities that Shodan has detected in this camera alone, right? So we can see here that they're not critical vulnerabilities, but nonetheless they are still vulnerabilities. Okay, so you can have a read through this, and you know, again, this doesn't reflect all the vulnerabilities that exist. There could be more, but these are the ones that Shodan have picked up on, right? And we can just see that it's reported vulnerabilities 2020, 2019, 2015. What's some of the vulnerabilities we got? We got jQuery prior to 19.0 allows cross-site scripting attacks via the load method. The load method fails to recognize and remove script HTML tags that contain a white space character, which results in the enclosed script logic to be executed. Okay, so I mean, this particular vulnerability here may be somewhat mitigated, but some potential scenarios that you could see from a situation like this is we could see an attacker could take this camera over. Maybe there are default credentials in the camera because a lot of people don't set these things up properly. They just run them with the default manufacturer credentials, which could be bypassed if you did a little bit of information on the camera. They could inject malware into the camera. They could use this camera to operate like as a botnet, you know, infect it as a botnet. Now, if you don't know what a botnet is, it's a pretty interesting thing. Botnets can carry out things like DDoS attacks. They can be used to direct traffic to a particular target. We've seen this with like Iranian threat actors like to use botnets and like to you know, overload traffic and bring down a particular you know, particular service or something like that. So have a play around, guys. You know, jump on here, have a look for yourself. Incredibly interesting. Again, be responsible with this information. This should be for your educational and for research purposes only, to help you become a better analyst, to help you become a better penetration tester, to help you in your OSINT abilities, all right? Your ability to scan the internet and use all the freely available tools to you. This is the smartest way to work. You don't have to spend money, and someone else has gone and done a lot of this work for you. So this makes it a lot easier and really good. But having said that, this would scare some people. This also does highlight a potential risk for many people. So if you're a business owner or you're running, you know, cameras in your house, or you think that this might be a concern, it's definitely worth looking into, because again, if I can see it, that means someone else can see it as well. You can go on here and look for yourself. There's literally, I don't know, probably thousands, hundreds of these images of cameras, of IoT devices, of people's desktops all over the world. We even got a traffic camera here that's looks to be loaded with vulnerabilities apparently. Where's this based? In Richmond, United States. Interesting. So yeah, have a play around, guys. Have a little bit of fun. I'm not a know-it-all. I don't ever proclaim or profess that I'm some kind of know-it-all expert. I learn every day, and this is one of the things that I really love about cybersecurity is it's always something new you can learn. There's always new vulnerabilities, and becoming a professional in this field is quite rewarding, because businesses, people, individuals, sick people rely on this to operate in this world. This is the way the world is. Technology is here and it doesn't look like it's going anywhere, so people need to secure it. Okay, so all the best. Thank you so much. Hop on Shodan for yourself. Highly recommend it. If this video does well, or the channel starts to do a bit better, I will try and make more videos around it. Maybe I'll do a video next time on how we can use the Shodan API key to pull in queries from Shodan in our terminal, so we don't actually have to come to the website. We can customize the script and pull in all kinds of awesome information. So thank you so much. All the best, guys. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Tell me down below how you use Shodan. Do you use it for vulnerability analysis? Are you a penetration tester? Share your knowledge with me. Share your opinions and thoughts, and we'll see you on the next one.